So in my last podcast, for the first time ever, I made the mistake of recording myself on my computer mic instead of my actual dynamic microphone. It was extremely crushing to realize it at the end, so I decided to make a video on a 3-step checklist you can use to make sure what happened to me never happens to you. Step 1. Checking the hardware settings. I know it's annoying to have to do this every time, but if you don't, you run the risk of recording on the wrong mic. So after you plug in your mic, actually go into the settings and check the hardware preferences right before you record. I recommend setting up a shortcut key to access this. Mine's for Audition is Command-Shift-K. Every DAW is slightly different, but every DAW has the option to change input mics. I normally always do this, but this time it got lost because of all the other things I needed to set up for the podcast. Step 2. Now that you have the hardware settings checked, the next step is to tap all microphones. In our case, there's just 2, the intended input and the computer mic. Hit the record button and then tap on the microphone and check that there's a signal coming from your DAW. They'll just look like spikes. How step 2 managed to fail on this occasion is because I've recently upgraded to a MacBook Pro 16-inch, which has a pretty good mic that picked up my tapping. Normally, this is not what happens with my 2015 MacBook Pro, so instead of just tapping one mic, this method will now evolve and be tap all mics. Because if you do tap on the computer mic and the actual mic you want to be using, you'll see that one signal will be louder than the other, and then you'll know for sure that your intended mic is the one being recorded, if it's the louder signal. Of course, this step is redundant because you already did step 1, but it's always good to double check. Final step. Actually do a full 10-second test and listen back with good headphones. So whenever I record audio, I always check and listen back. That includes this time where I messed up. Unfortunately, on this occasion, I listened back using these really crappy Amazon Basic earphones, which make everything sound very similar. So I thought, hey, it sounds pretty good. And honestly, the microphone on the MacBook Pro 16-inch do sound pretty good, so that also played a factor in me making that mistake. In the end, I took off the earphones and heard it on my speakers, and let's just say I wasn't very happy because I could hear the difference much better. So actually record a test of you talking into your mic and then listen back on a good pair of headphones. Doing this test for 10 seconds will save you the trouble of having hours of bad audio. Do these 3 steps every time before you record, and you'll never record on the wrong mic ever again. I highlighted the mistakes I made for each step so that you can avoid the same mistakes I made. This was the first time I ever made a big mistake like this, and honestly, it was a mixture of being too comfortable, so I let my guard down, and the fact that I wasn't used to how my new MacBook mic sounded. Hopefully this video helps. Be sure to subscribe and like if it does, and let me know if you guys have any questions about video production stuff you would like me to cover. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.